Aquarius is all about community, but Aquarius is also all about individuality. That is the polarity that Aquarius is holding, right? Only an empowered individual can create an empowered society. For me, this is the age of understanding what reciprocal relationships mean. And again, I don't mean that just you and your partner, but in general, you and your partner, you and your friend, you and nature, you and your purpose work. Reciprocal versus transactional. If we don't know our purpose, if we don't have a purpose, the next 20 years, we will get lost in the masses. We will just become a number. The whole idea of convenience versus ethics and values, human values, the value of the human are going to be at play here, and we have to be really mindful of what we buy into, quite literally buy into, what we follow, what we deem as correct for the evolution of us as a human species. We also don't want to just regard everything that has been in the past. We want to integrate it. Good morning, my lovelies. Welcome back. So in today's video, I want to talk about Pluto and Aquarius. And there will be two videos here. The first video, so this one, today's video, will be all about the themes that we will focus on during this time. And then the second video will be about what Pluto and Aquarius is going to hold for your sign. Now let's start with the themes. I found 9 themes here, and I wrote a blog post about this. You can read this, I will link it below. However, I thought I want to also, it's a bit hot, sorry. I want to make this into a video because I think this is a profound shift that we got to talk about on here. So, like I said, 9 themes. The first one would be a collective transformation when it comes to technology. That is probably the most obvious for everyone as well. And you know, you might say, well, aren't we already in the midst of it? Yes, we are. But I believe things will accelerate in a speed that we haven't seen before. When we look back, we've noticed that advancements in technology in general have been coming in faster and faster speed, right? If we just look back 200 years, and then we look back the last 10, 15 years, well, it's quite profound. And I'm not saying that these shifts have only been good or only been bad, but they have shaped and changed the way we live as a society. And that will accelerate in the next 20 years. Pluto is moving into Aquarius fully on the 20th of November, and it will stay there until 2044. So when it comes to the shifts and changes in technology, I also think that we will have to deal with the digital ethics here. They will shift quite drastically as well. We have to make sure that we are going into it with a conscious way and not just follow the crowd, not just follow convenience. The whole idea of convenience versus ethics and values, human values, the value of the human are going to be at play here. And we have to be really mindful of what we buy into, quite literally buy into, what we follow, what we deem as correct for the evolution of us as a human species. And I'm saying as a human species, not as like some robotic kind of idea. And I think we are right now at there's a bit of a tipping point, right? Things can really go in very different directions here when it comes to this whole idea of AI and automation and living on the internet, living online, being an online being. I think we all have to contribute here, and we shouldn't just like, you know, close our eyes to it and say, yeah, it will be fine. It's fine. It's not gonna, you know, it's gonna. So we already have been seeing changes in the perception of how we are supposed to work, how we are supposed to go about life. We have to really stay mindful here. Aquarius is the sign of mindfulness. It literally is being mindful of all the possibilities, but also of the ethics behind it, because this is also the sign of humanity. Humanity, us as a human species, a collective. Where are we going together? Where are we growing together? What are we growing into together? Let's all shape this. Be a part of it and be a conscious part of it. Then the second theme here would be revolutionizing social structures. So this is all about social norms, social justice, equality, inclusivity, everything we've already been seeing in the last 4 or 5 years. This has been such a big topic for us as a society, and that will grow. But again, what I said before, we got to make sure that we are mindful, right? That we are understanding what we are participating in, what we are doing as a human species. We want to evolve, we want to grow as a human species. But we also don't want to just regard everything that has been in the past. We want to integrate it. Remember that Leo is on the other side here. Leo is the polarity of Aquarius. Now, it's about integrating the Leo energy, not disregarding the Leo energy, that will make us grow as a society in a beautiful, wonderful, delightful way. It will make us shine, because remember Leo, the sun, the shining light, the guiding light, this creative self-expression. We want to bring that creative self-expression with us in any and all endeavors, as an individual and as a society. So yes, this is about restructuring social norms, but keeping in mind that just disregarding the old and implementing the new is not what will make us grow, because it's not integrated, and we want to live in an integrated society. Then the third theme I see here is the reconnection to the collective. What do I mean by that? What I mean is, again, what we've been starting to see, like the themes that have been coming up in society, like a decentralized government, global networks, and the power to the people. But again, I am saying this with every theme, we got to be mindful here. Aquarius is all about community, but Aquarius is also all about individuality. That is the polarity that Aquarius is holding, right? Only an empowered individual can create an empowered society. If the individual is suppressed, or if the individual is regarded, or if the creative life force energy of the individual is not honored, we will lose ourselves as a society. Then the fourth point is, take this one with a bit of a grain of salt in what I say here, breaking away from traditions. And I'm not actually saying disregarding the tradition. Like I said multiple times already, I don't believe that that is the way forward for us as a society, for us as a human species. I think it's about integrating the traditions in a way that is fostering the individuals, that is nurturing and fostering the individual's creative juices, the creative self-expression. It's not about saying, oh yeah, that was all bad. Like, oh, family, who needs that? Oh yeah, relationships, who needs that? Like, no, it's about seeing and taking what is working, because not all is bad when it comes to tradition. But taking what is working, taking what is stable, taking what is grounded and rooted in substance and values, and building up on that. So there will be a focus on more interconnectedness and more communities coming together, but it needs to be from the place of an integrated individual in those communities, right? If the community is coming together and everyone is just a sheep and following like a herd, right? This herd mind, then again, where are we going? So maybe that could look like we are building smaller communities and like-minded communities coming together more in their own ways and building infrastructure within. For me, the most important thing is that we don't just disregard the individual and say, no, now the collective is all that matters. No, the collective matters because the individual matters, and the individual needs to be strong, and the individual needs to be grounded and rooted in something within. And from that place, we then go out. It's like when we do inner work. You do the inner work to ground yourself, and then from that place you give from a full cup. You can't give from an empty cup. I mean, what do you have to give from an empty cup? So the next theme that I have here is reimagining identity and purpose. It kind of piggybacks a little bit on what I said before. What is your contribution to society? This is really where the individual got to be strong, right? You as an individual, what's your purpose? And how does that purpose give to society? Because if we don't know our purpose, if we don't have a purpose, the next 20 years, we will get lost in the masses. We will just become a number. But if we come in with our purpose, with our core essence, strong, with our creative self-expression, shining, we can really contribute and shape the society of the future. But you got to be rooted within you. You're not doing, you can't just do this from the mental plane. Maybe for a while you can pretend, but it needs to be an embodied experience. You need to be embodied in your purpose work, where you're going, what you have to offer to society. And it's not the same thing for everyone, right? For some people, it's on a smaller scale, in a smaller community, in your village. For other people, it's a more global thing, speaking to a bigger audience. But all of it matters. Then the sixth one is also kind of piggybacking on what I already said. It is about confronting and transforming societal structures and the power structures that we are living under, that we are living with, that we are living in. I keep honing in on this. It takes strong individuals to do that, and it needs to be a being that is full of itself. And what I mean by that is not like being full of yourself, thinking from an ego kind of perspective, but being full, feeling authentic, and giving from this full authentic cup to the world, and from that place changing and shifting societal structures. So authority will be questioned more and more, and I know authority has always been questioned to a certain degree, but I think we are doing this on a different level now, but also because we have all these other structures around it, like the internet, the power of AI. But what I want to hone in on is that remember that rebelling just for rebellion's sake is not going to get anyone anywhere. It is not going to make us grow. It is not going to make us evolve. It actually is going to get us stuck. It's going to stall. We're all going to stall, just like here. And we're not really moving society forward. It will only create a bigger collective ego, which again will not serve us as a collective. Then, what do I say? My favorite one, evolution in relationships. Now, in relationships, it is particularly important that we don't just regard everything traditional and say, no, we're just going to do everything a different way now. Because we got to remember, we are human beings. We live in a human spacesuit. We hold a certain DNA, and that DNA has been coded for 40,000 years. More than 40,000 years, but according to science, it takes 40,000 years for DNA to truly shift and change in a way that actually changes us. So that is quite a long time. So we got to be mindful about that we still live with that DNA of the caveman, but we now live in a society that is modern, that is open in all kinds of ways. So finding healthy ways to integrate yourself in the relationship. What are you looking for? Are you looking for transactional relationship, which also has been part of tradition, right? Tradition, there is not just one tradition, right? Traditionally, looking back, there have been plenty of transactional relationships. A transactional relationship could be a relationship where, you know, your father wants you to marry the neighbor's son because the neighbor has like a big herd of sheep. And, you know, you would then also inherit that, right? That is a transactional relationship that you will get into. Today, transactional relationships could be looked at as the 50-50 relationship. What could be another transactional relationship? Sugar babies, and, you know, the old guy that wants the beautiful girl and the beautiful girl that wants, you know, to live a good lifestyle. Transactional. Now, what is reciprocal? A reciprocal relationship is a relationship where we bring 100% of us, authenticity. But again, for that, you have to be doing your inner work to know what actually is your authentic self, your fullness, you know, to be able to bring all of it. Have reverence. I think reverence is going to be a big word. It's probably going to be my word for 2025. I've already decided. I've been using it lately so much. Reverence for yourself, reverence for your partner, reverence for the divine union of a relationship. So it is up to you what serves you best, what you believe is best for you. But then again, you got to keep in mind that the collective consciousness is going to reflect all of it as well. So I think there's going to be a lot of trial and error. We've already been going through a lot of trial and error, right? Since the 80s, we've been going through that, coming out of the first wave of feminism, going into the second wave of feminism, and seeing how society shifted through that, or with that, or because of that. It makes me think of the law of rhythm. The law of rhythm says that the pendulum always swings from the degree point of one side to the same degree point of the other side. And then it can slowly balance out. It will never swing from here to here. That's based on the law of rhythm. That is not possible. And we've seen that. We went from one extreme to another extreme. And now we have the chance to find what is right for us, again, on an individual level, in relationships, and also on a collective level. How we want to go forward when it comes to marriage, to children, to family, the family structure. What does it mean for us, a family structure? What feels right to us? What feels good to us? Where do we feel at home? How do we feel at home? What do we need to feel at home? So that is going to be a big one. I think this could be, I could do just a whole video just on that. But let's get going. We have two more. We have number 8, sustainable progress and Earth stewardship. That's what I titled it. And what I mean by it is like sustainability and environmental reverence. Again, we are talking about reverence. And this all includes how are we going to feed society that is growing and growing, that has been growing, and keep nature intact. Do all of this with a reverence for nature. So agricultural changes and working with nature, not just using nature to get what you want, right? Not having a transactional relationship with nature per se, but having a reciprocal relationship with nature. For me, this is the age of understanding what reciprocal relationships mean. And again, I don't mean that just you and your partner, but in general, you and your partner, you and your friend, you and nature, you and your purpose work. Reciprocal versus transactional. I think that is going to be a theme in itself in this. And then last but not least, we have exploring science, mysticism, and the human psyche. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that there's always been this idea of science versus spirituality, right? Especially this is the sign that really brings that out, Aquarius. There is this mysticism about Aquarius where we are thinking beyond, where we're thinking outside the box, but then there's also that scientific part that works in a certain structure, right? This is Aquarius being ruled by Uranus and Saturn. And this is really beautifully shown in that. So I think what we will be learning and growing into is having a reverence again for both, and bringing the two together, how they can actually merge, like this Aquarian openness, that openness, open-mindedness to new ideas can help us merge what we already know, what we've learned, what we've come to understand from a scientific point of view, with all the possibilities out there, tapping into that consciousness that some people call God consciousness, universal consciousness, like the Hermetics call it. And I think the Hermetics, we will hear much more about the Hermetics, and I think I will do a few videos about the Hermetic principles going forward as well, the 7 Hermetic principles. I've been over the last 15 years, I've been really falling in love with that, and it's probably the book I've been reading the most over and over and over and over again. And every time I read it, I'm like, wow, it's another thing that I didn't realize before, that I didn't get out of it before. Like I learn something new every time I read that book, even though I've read it a million times. So we will talk about this going forward as well. If you have any questions about this video, feel free to leave me a comment in the comment section. If you want a personal reading, seeing where the Aquarian age will take you, please feel free to book your reading by clicking on the link in the description box. I have 4 separate readings that focus on different topics, but then you can also request, of course, a reading that is personalized to what you need right now in your life and what would help you to further your life. So my lovelies, I wish you a beautiful day, and I will talk to you later.